claim is that same-sex marriage should not be legalized because it will bring a destructive and a negative social impact, a health impact, and a religious impact on society. First of all, let's start with the social impact. Gay marriage will lead to more children being raised in single parenthood, or in same-sex parenthood, which is pretty much not the best environment to raise children in, because children simply need a mother and a father. There's a study here from the American Sociological Review who states that girls who are raised without a father or by lesbian couples have a higher chance of getting exposed to early sexual activity. There's another study by the American Sociological Review that states that they are also exposed to homoerotic relationships. The children are exposed to homoerotic relationships if they are raised by lesbian couples or by gay couples. There's also a study that shows that in Scandinavian countries, many children who are raised by same-sex couples have a higher chance of being born out of marriage or out of wedlock, which is absolutely not the best or the greatest environment to raise the children in.
Yes, let's think about the important role of marriage. Homosexual marriage causes population problem because there is no reproduction at all for homosexual couples. Obviously, same-sex marriage cannot produce the second generation. According to the 2010 census, states that permit same-sex marriage are growing more slowly than the rest of the country. The population growth rate of those states that permit same-sex marriage are from 2% to like 6%. On the contrary, the United States population grew 9.7% between 2000 and 2010. This phenomenon doesn't help economic status because economically active population affects the potential of country's growth. There is a saying that population represents the power of the country. Considering the education, the legalization of same-sex marriage in the U.S. would dramatically alter the nature of what is taught to children in schools, in community schools, and camps, churches, like that. Introducing learners to education about same-sex marriage would be creating a negative perception of the current generation towards parenting and childbearing. With this negative aspect, we insist that same-sex marriage should not be legalized.
Let's move on now to the religious impact. Almost all of the religious groups are absolutely against same-sex marriage. The Catholic Church, the Presbyterian Church, United Methodist Church, Islam, Southern Baptist Convention, Association of Evangelicans are all absolutely opposed to same-sex marriage. There's also a congregation that was by the Doctrine of Faith. It was approved by the Pope himself, and it states that marriage should solely exist between a man and a woman.
Okay, here are a couple of economical impact of same-sex marriage. People should not have their tax dollar used to support something that gone wrong. Gay marriage will entitle gay couples to typical marriage benefits, including claiming the tax exemption from a spouse receiving Social Security payments. According to the evidence that Congressional Budget Office estimate that the cost to the federal government of the extending employment benefits to same-sex domestic partners of central federal employee will be $596 million in mandatory spending and $302 million in discretionary spending between 2010 and 2019. And finally, I would like to mention about some health problems of same-sex marriage. Legalizing same-sex marriage causes mental and physical health problems. Males homosexual had an average 20 to 30 years less than the general male population. A study found that the median age of the death of 88 homosexual partner men was 45 years, while for the other 118 partner men, it was 46 years. And homosexual behavior significantly increases the likelihood of psychiatry, mental, and emotional disorder. A scientific study in the Netherlands revealed that youth are 4 times more likely to suffer major depression and 4 times as likely to commit suicide. Last but not least, homosexual behavior increases the risk of HIV infection and other disease. According to CDC survey, it reveals that men who have sex with men account for nearly half of people living with HIV and half of all new HIV infection. Here are the statement we are proposing the same-sex marriage should be